approaching kickoff at the Allianz Arena. Bayern Munich playing host to Wolfsburg. Bayern won both meetings between these clubs last season. Bavarian Giants, with the support of a passionate crowd, they're hoping to be among the winners in a final Bundesliga round of 2019. We got 4 other matches just moments away from getting started. Let's whip all the games right now. Leipzig take care of business against Augsburg, Alexia.
Now let's not bury the lead. Tyler Adams is in. Alert, alert, alert. U.S. international, and that's why it's something to behold, because he has been out for a while, but he is so important, and not for nothing, but he's playing for the first-place team in the Bundesliga. So wonderful for Red Bull, and certainly wonderful for the U.S. national team.
This is a great game. Mainz against Leverkusen.
Yeah, 14 versus 8, and Mainz are on that road of winning games, scoring goals, 5 last time out, but more importantly, kept a clean sheet, their first of the season. And Leverkusen who hasn't scored or assisted in the last 7 games, but last time he scored against Mainz, so they've got players like Volland as well, who's got 5 goals, 5 assists. Peter Bosz, he needs a result, because he's lost his last couple of games.
Did you see the picture there of Rudy Voller?
Yeah.
Getting whiter every time I see him.
It's Christmas.
Cologne against Bremen, massive game.
Yeah, we were talking about this earlier. Cologne, if they get these 3 points, they can distance themselves. They're in 15th, Bremen in 16th. Obviously, Bremen coming off a huge loss, 5-0 to Mainz. So lots at stake here for these teams that are trying to fight off relegation.
I'm calling a Cologne win for Werder Bremen to fire their coach in the winter break. Let's go to the Veltins Arena, Schalke and Freiburg.
Yeah, sadly to say Weston McKennie's not playing. Obviously had the shoulder injury last time out in at home, but they have made this a bit of a full suit. He's got 6 goals and 4 assists. But Pedersen, Freiburg, the best tunnel in the world, that is. When you go down there, must be very exciting as a player. But Pedersen hasn't scored since...
bench, looking forward to this matchup. The best defense in the Bundesliga have Wolfsburg, but it certainly won't be easy. How important is it, guys, for Bayern Munich to get a win before that winter break, just to get ever so closer to that top spot?
I think it's vital, and they know it. And Lexi rightly said they're flying at the moment, and this is where they put pressure on everybody else, because teams have had chance to pull away, and they haven't been able to do that. Now there's a 4-point gap with Leipzig. The pressure's on them, and Bayern have proven year after year they can handle the pressure.
And they constantly plant that seed of doubt, even in a year where it's rational to have doubt about Bayern Munich. Once again, you finish this, and you go into the break with the seed planted firmly if you finish it off here with it.
Yeah, they was vulnerable, and I expected someone to really take control of their vulnerability with the coach being fired and makeshift back line. They've had injuries as well, but no one's been able to do that. But when you've got someone like him, Lewandowski, 19 goals, you know you've always got a chance. And Davies with that ball, just put it into an area and he'll score goals.
You both believe that Bayern will get this victory today, continue this mastery over Wolfsburg. How do they do it?
They'll keep chipping away because of that bust that's going to show up there. Look, if they score early, if they score 1, they'll score 3, they'll score 4. But if they don't, and Wolfsburg continues to play the type of defense that they have played, they're just going to chip away, and eventually they'll just get...
the thing with Bayern now, they've got two options. You can go Coutinho, that's going to find a clever little pass, or they've got genuine width now that can cause you problems. So whether it's Gnabry or Davis as a left back, this is where they need to be better, is at the back. But they've got leaders, Thomas Müller. He knows how vital it is, so they've got goal for it all over the place.
All right, we'll see you again at half-time, but for right now we get it out to you match commentators, Derek Ray and Thomas Bruich.
Well, before Bayern tuck into their Christmas goose, they must first dance with Wolves. Die Wölfe of Wolfsburg, to be exact. Fair to say, it's not normally a daunting prospect for the Rekordmeister, considering the history. Given the unpredictability of this campaign, who's to say what might happen? Jérôme Roussillon, that pass through the middle. Manuel Neuer there to gather it. Thomas, what are you expecting this afternoon?
Pretty much one-way traffic from the get-go, I'd say. Bayern will try to assert their dominance from the very beginning. And I think for Wolfsburg, it's going to be really, really important to be compact defensively. And once they win the ball back, not to give it away straight away. Make that first pass stick and then hit Bayern on the break.
Thomas Müller looking to make headway on that right-hand side. Ball just came off Roussillon. Benjamin Pavard occupying the right-back position. Here's David Alaba. Has been tremendous as a central defender. Milestone appearance for him is 250th in the Bundesliga.
That's a funny story right there about Alaba. I mean, he was asked to help out in that centre-half role, and he's done a fantastic job. Let's wait that.
Lewandowski received it from Coutinho. Gnabry. Came out towards Joshua Kimmich. Pavard. Once again, Kimmich. Müller. One or two were doubting Thomas Müller earlier this season, wondering if he was going to get a look in at all. He has come onto a game.
Let me finish that thought on Alaba.
Yeah.
Playing in that centre-half role. That allowed Davies to come in and play as a left-back. And he's done so well that he has become a rival now for Alaba once all those injured centre-halves come back. I think, you know, going into the future, looking into the future, he's going to be long-term probably Bayern's left fullback now.
Decisions. Certainly no denying the fact that Davies has been fantastic. Here's Coutinho. And Davies. Lewandowski. 19 goals to his name in the Bundesliga this season. Napoli trying to go on a mazy run. Back there defending was Maximilian Arnold. Bright start from Bayern. Central defensive partnership for Wolfsburg of Marcel Tisserand and John Brooks, the USA international. Arnold is the player down.
What really surprises me from a Bayern point of view is that they're playing Martinez as a centre-half. He's had problems against Leverkusen and Gladbach. His lack of pace cost Bayern dearly. And it was a similar story when Boateng was playing there against Bremen, and they kind of rectified it, bringing Pavard into that centre-half role and playing Kimmich as a right-back. But that's not what they're doing this afternoon. They're playing Kimmich in a midfield role.
And you and I had a conversation off air about that before a ball was kicked. We certainly didn't think they would play Martinez in central defence, but Hansi Flick had a different view of the situation. Concern here as regards Arnold. Little pause for early reflection. That was a cracking goal he scored to see off Borussia Mönchengladbach. For quite a while now, you just feel Maximilian Arnold has been the face of this Wolfsburg team. This is what happened, Thomas.
Doesn't look like much. But that was Arnold in a different role. You talked about his shooting technique. He's got a great shot on him, capable of scoring spectacular goals. But he's also that kind of midfielder that works really hard defensively. I think both Xaver Schlager and him are really, really important today, being those box-to-box midfielders, being a threat going forward, but also helping out defensively.
Joshua Kimmich. Alaba across the defence to Martinez. No Thiago because of suspension. Corentin Tolisso, Leon Goretzka also missing. It's a very inexperienced Bayern bench. Decision goes the way of Wolfsburg. Lewandowski, amongst others, rather perplexed. Run made by Kevin Mbabu. Didn't have the legs. Lewandowski. Options right and left. Müller. Perisic has made the deep run into the box. He wanted it played over with a bit more guile than that. John Brooks was the man standing guard for Wolfsburg. Alaba, one of many who said pretty clearly he would like Hansi Flick to stay in charge of Bayern. He will be meeting with the top brass after this game, once the winter break starts. Felix Klaus. It's going to be extra difficult, you just feel, for Wolfsburg. It's always difficult for them here at the Allianz Arena, but no Wout Weghorst. If you're wondering why he's not in the starting 11, he hasn't been feeling too well, struggling with a high temperature. Now Coutinho. Oh, it's all the way through to Gnabry, who's offside. That was an excellent idea by Coutinho.
Yeah, pass came a second too late. It was more or less telegraphed. It was easy for the back line to step up.
And it does promise to be a fascinating confrontation, because Bayern have been scoring freely. Wolfsburg with the best defensive record in the Bundesliga. To try to get Roussillon forward on that left-hand side. The general feeling is that he's a much better player in this setup as left-back and a back four than he is as a wing-back in a back three system.
I agree. His last two performances have been, more like the old Roussillon that we got to know last season, where he was starting a little bit deeper and made those fantastic forward runs.
Forward by Koen Casteels. Klaus was in position, unable to bring the ball under control. If you're wondering why there was a big cheer just seconds ago, it was to mark the fact that Augsburg have forged ahead in Leipzig. Kept right up to date with that situation by means of the big electronic scoreboard here at the Allianz Arena. Another sellout, 75,000, and not a bad seat in the house. Nothing there for Lewandowski. He will, by the way, be undergoing a groin operation straight after this game. It's something they've been putting off. They want to Give him time to be back in business for the start of the Rückrunde, the second half of the season.
Yeah, it's just a minor thing. It's just about timing, really. They should be back in no time.
Guilavogui. Strong and dynamic. Headed away by Javi Martinez. It's going to be interesting to see exactly when Lucas Hernandez comes back for Bayern. Here's Perisic. Didn't quite happen the way he wanted it to. Let's have a good understanding with Davies. When we speak about Bayern conceding more goals than normally is the case, we have to take into account the fact that Hernandez has been missing for a chunk of time. So too Niklas Süle. He's going to be out for the longer term.
Yeah, that's probably the biggest blow. Süle, to me, is Germany's #1 defender these days. He's a big unit, but he's so quick as well. And that's what you need when you play a high line, when you press high up the field. You're vulnerable to transition moments, and not having Süle there, that is costing Bayern.
Arnold, who has recovered from that knock from earlier, is going in on Perisic. Martinez. Pavard's pass, but that was read by Guilavogui. Xaver Schlager. It looked as though it might just be opening up for Wolfsburg. Steffen was in the centre of the attack, but the flag raised.
But I like what they're doing. They're making the first pass stick, and they've got a few forward runners. That's the way to go against Bayern.
Coutinho had his early troubles wearing the colours of Bayern. Really excelling recently. Last match of this Bundesliga calendar year for Bayern and Wolfsburg. Bayern always like to end the year daheim, as they say, here in Bavaria. Not the most hospitable of afternoons. It has been raining on and off. Grey and damp. Now what can they conjure here? Bayern, there's the answer. Perisic forcing Castells into urgent action. Mbabu. Steffen, that was tidy enough. Maximilian Arnold. Here's Klaus. And offside once again. But the threat was at the other end. Müller on the right.
Perisic completely unmarked, and it was Alaba who actually started the attack. Him driving the ball into midfield, then switching play, created this chance for Perisic.
Kimmich. No problems this time for the Wolfsburg rear guard. Born Castells did have that calf injury to contend with earlier this season. As we said, Thiago not featuring because of suspension. Still takes a bit of getting used to the fact that Karl-Heinz Rummenigge doesn't have Uli Hoeneß next to him.
I feel the same. What's become obvious in the first 13 minutes is that Wolfsburg are playing 2 6s. It's probably too risky to play Guilavogui as a sole 6 against Coutinho and Müller, so it's Arnold helping out in defensive midfield.
Schlager. Style of play does seem to be perfect for Wolfsburg. He can press, he can go on the offensive. Another little stoppage here. Benjamin Pavard. That's what happened to him. Ouch.
Probably got winded.
Klaus having to fill in for Weghorst. So we look at the first statistical download. 70% of the possession with the Rekordmeister. Might be able to set something up here, Wolfsburg. The run was made by Klaus with Steffen in the middle.
But expertly defended by the young left back. Davies tucks in. Exactly what he needed to do in that situation. That's what really impresses me with him. He's a young kid and he's naturally a winger, but he's got a very good tactical understanding of this position already.
Wolfsburg have scored 3 goals from set pieces in the last 4 games. Touched on by Joao Victor to Arnold. The leap by Schlager. Matching his jump was Martinez. Roussillon. That came off Thomas Müller. Once again with Joao Victor. Did brilliantly. Klaus. No real channel from which to attack. Bempire trying to clear his lines. Schlager pushing it through. And Klaus denied by Neuer. But there was a gap in the Bayern defence. Neuer did his job.
But what a clever ball there by Schlager. Rather than playing it into Guilavogui, who was waiting on the wing. That little clever inside pass. Beautiful.
Now Müller. Lewandowski. Getting there first was Mbabu.
Look at that. When everyone was expecting the pass into Guilavogui, he just slid it through. And that's excellent goalkeeping by Manuel Neuer, who closes the angle brilliantly.
So a Bayern corner this time. And Kimmich will be responsible for it. No real difficulties encountered. Comes away by Tisserand. Mbabu. Lewandowski. Touch on by Davies for Kimmich. Serge Gnabry. And Müller, that didn't come off at all. Gnabry putting in the challenge. All of a sudden, Bayern have it again. Smothering stop by Koen Castells. A constant movement from Bayern in terms of the personnel.
And also the counter press that has changed under Hansi Flick. They're taking a lot more risks. Under Kovac, it was important to get men behind the ball. These days, they're really trying to win it back straight away. And you could see it when Gnabry lost the ball and was chasing after it and won it back just a second or two after.
Klaus. Schlager. There's Kimmich. Model of calm and composure. Pavard. Does give Bayern flexibility, the fact that Pavard can play it right back, he can play in central defence. That's a good point you made earlier, Thomas, about Alaba and Davies. On current form, how would you ever leave Alphonso Davies out of this team?
Especially with the way the game is developing at the moment, it becomes more and more important that you're just super fast. And even though Alaba is not slow by any means, Davies is just that little bit quicker.
Lewandowski. Gnabry. Now Perisic running at Mbabu. And behind it goes for another corner. Ivan Perisic playing against one of his former clubs. Again, Kimmich to take. A deep corner to the back post from Joshua Kimmich. He thought about it for a second or two. Christian Dinger. It's going to be another Bayern corner, this time from the right. Interesting defensive alignment here from Wolfsburg. Martinez, Lewandowski in the thick of things. Both just peeled off simultaneously. A long wait. And now the Kimmich corner. And Müller wasn't quite right for him. Martinez. And Babu away. Only as far as Kimmich. Kevin Mbabu taking charge. Comes off Joshua Kimmich last of all. Twice a champion in Switzerland with young boys. Kevin Mbabu. Oliver Glasner, a man at the Wolfsburg helm, his first season. First posting outside Austria. And he worked wonders with Lars Glintz, guiding them from the second tier of Austrian football into European competition. They have had to change one or two things this season. The players have had to deal with those changes. Remember last term under Bruno Labbadia, they were much more a possession-orientated side. Referee pondered it. Lewandowski down, free kick given. Well, Brooks has something to say to officialdom. So to Schlager.
Yeah, challenge from behind. That's a foul, and I'm pretty sure Alaba is going to claim that one from that position.
Well, the angle should be very inviting of a left-footed Alaba. Scored direct from a free kick against Mainz back at the end of August. Well, what do they have in store for Wolfsburg here? Coutinho is beside Alaba.
Good options to have.
Yeah, not bad, is it?
I still fancy Alaba from that angle.
And I'm sure that's who Wolfsburg will expect to let fly. David Alaba. And it is Alaba, and Castells did just enough. Beautifully taken free kick.
Oh, great shape on that shot, but even better save. Got the right dip. I think the keeper just anticipated well.
We reached the midway point of the first half. Match day 17 in the Bundesliga. Coming to you today from the Allianz Arena, just to the north of Munich. On a day of Schmuddelwetter, as they would say in some parts of Germany, perhaps not so much here in the south. You can guide me on that, Thomas, as a local.
Well, I grew up in Bavaria, and that kind of weather is indeed not typical. Usually we call it Kaiserwetter, which kind of means blue sky, sunny. It might be cold, but at least it's a pretty day. Not so much today.
Schmuddelwetter really sums things up frequently in the north of Germany, when it tends to be more overcast and more rainy.
Yeah, the constant slight drizzle.
Kimmich ended up being very good indeed. Davies going for it with Mbabu. No infringements.
It's well defended. He was looking for body contact. Davies is so quick, you've got to slow him down somehow, and he did that through that shoulder-to-shoulder challenge.
Lewandowski trying to create a bit of room for himself. Brooks was in the vicinity. Martinez forward. Gnabry. And Pavard. Coutinho. Bogie was in that sector of the pitch, as he very often is. Schlager. That came off Joshua Kimmich. That allows Davies to play it back to Manuel Neuer. Only Bayern player who hasn't missed a minute of Bundesliga action this season. It's going to be an interesting winter break from the Bayern point of view. We'll be in Qatar limbering up for the Rückrunde. As we said earlier, decision to make as regards the coach. Will it be Hansi Flick? Will it be someone else? Talk of Leroy Sané perhaps joining. Finally, here's Müller, takes on the shots. And Castells had to watch it all the way.
Why not in these conditions? Keep it on the deck. But fantastic. Oh, I thought he saved it. Just went wide.
Well, made that dive, Koen Castells, but no contact with the ball. Felix Klaus waits beside Renato Steffen. Klaus, who, by the way, has gone 15 Bundesliga matches without scoring. That's going back to last season. Got to go back 7 months to a game against Nuremberg. Schlager getting right into the face of the referee. It was Coutinho who went down. Challenge from Klaus.
He's got big shoes to fill. Not having Weghorst in that lineup is a big blow, because he usually is the man to hold on to the ball, who brings others into play as well. And on top of that, from set pieces.
Oh, Davies, what a stylish run that was. Lewandowski still alive for Coutinho. And Lewandowski is trying to redirect that one. Glorious play from Bayern München. And it all started with Davies.
And Coutinho is starting to look more and more like the player that we all used to know from Liverpool. That goal he scored a week ago against Bremen was just fantastic.
Klaus. Pavard. Shoulder to shoulder with Felix Klaus. Müller. Back goes Mbappé. No realistic chance for Perisic to get there. Just 1 or 2 adjustments being made by Oliver Glasner. He was talking this week about his formation, and the common held view here in Germany is that he is a back 3 man, but he said, hang on a minute. He said, when I was in charge of Linz in our promotion season, we played 4-4-2 just about every game. He's flexible.
Well, I guess you got to be in modern football, but also they started the season with a back 3 and went unbeaten for such a long time. Why would you change that formation? And then after they hit a bit of a dry spell, he was flexible enough to change it to a 4-3-3. So it just goes to show that he's got a few aces up his sleeves.
Well, they have started to settle down in the last few matches. Wolfsburg began the season brilliantly in all competitions. Just wonder to what extent that 6-1 cup thrashing at the hands of Leipzig dented confidence. And of course, they were having to play games every 3 or 4 days. It goes with the territory when you're in the Europa League. Now Gnabry trying to find the angle, going one way then the other. Gnabry right across the face of goal. Another close shave. Bayern knocking on the Wolfsburg door.
He's so good with both feet. You just never know when he's going to pull the trigger, and that was an excellent save, even from a tight angle, but short distance. unbelievable save.
Yeah, he did get the touch on that occasion, Castells. And it's Kimmich with the latest Bayern corner. Same pair of hands. Koen Castells recently extended his contract until 2024. Castells, the Belgian who spent the bulk of his career here in Germany. His 5th Wolfsburg season. Babu getting high up the pitch. Covering there was Kimmich. Hansi Flick does seem to be the choice of many in this Bayern squad to continue his work. It's always telling when you get the vote of confidence from someone such as Karl-Heinz Rummenigge. And he has been asked this question time and again in the last couple of weeks. Keeps saying that, to his eyes, they have a coach who fits. He fits the philosophy. He fits the style of football that's wanted by fans of the Rekordmeister. Headed away by Brooks that time. Guilavogui. Müller. Perisic was inside the box. John Brooks was able to get there for Wolfsburg. Davies. Arnold once again had to be the auxiliary defender.
But that's what Wolfsburg want. If Bayern continue just cross the ball, they're probably happy to deal with it for the remaining afternoon, because they've got the big guys in the center, and that's where Bayern cannot hurt them as easily.
Just about 70% of the possession with Bayern so far. And beginning to create chances. In by Kimmich. Guilavogui who got there. Perisic back in there. And Babu winning it in the air. Perisic. Is there a bit of bumping inside the box? Javi Martinez was up there and went to ground. Nothing doing. Bayern try again. Breaking pass from Kimmich for Gnabry. Arnold only as far as Gnabry. Could have gone anywhere.
No, there was nothing in it. Not at all.
Roussillon was the man who was close to Martinez. Martinez. Perisic. One thing to keep in mind is the fact that Wolfsburg have conceded just one goal in the air in the Bundesliga this season, one headed goal. And they can boast of having the tightest defence of anyone. 0-0 so far. Comes off and Babu. So it might take something special from Bayern in terms of a set piece to get the better of this Wolfsburg rearguard.
They are man marking.
Kimmich and Pavard. Marking him was Mbabu. This one trickles through. Goal kick the outcome.
Well, you know, when the defensive setup is man marking when it comes to corners, there's always a chance to block people free, and maybe that's what Bayern need to start doing.
One thing Wolfsburg can be very happy about, Thomas, is the fact that they have restricted Robert Lewandowski to 0 attempts.
Yeah, but that's after half an hour. Like their sporting director said in the pre-match interview, it's hard to contain him for full 90 minutes.
Yeah, well, we're listening with interest, weren't we, to Marcel Schäfer. some point, Lewandowski will get a look at goal. That's pretty much without saying. Well, the action has stopped once again. Joao Victor. As the player just halted in his tracks. Together there with Martinez. Just feeling that left arm of his. Kimmich. 7 attempts from Bayern. Just the one from Wolfsburg. That early shot from Klaus. 6 corners to 1. It's more or less as we expected.
Yeah, but to be fair, I think Klaus's chance was probably the best one of the entire game. He was 1-on-1 with the keeper, and if it weren't for Manuel Neuer, they could have been up.
It is all about being opportunistic when you face Bayern München. That's what Oliver Glasner was discussing in his pre-match media briefing, saying that at times they have been vulnerable defensively, and it's incumbent upon Wolfsburg to be alert and to finish. If they do get in front of goal, and they did earlier. Here's Arnold. And Perisic. A bit ungainly. Free kick.
Well, in general, you got to say there's a growing belief amongst the teams in the league that you can actually beat Bayern. For years and years, it felt like coming to the Allianz Arena was a lost cause even before the start. But no, Leverkusen have done it. Hoffenheim have done it already this season. Bayern dropped points against Hertha in the first game of the season. So belief is really growing.
And it has been a remarkable Hinrunde. We're not finished yet. Shocks and surprises galore. Arnold is the man standing over this. Here is Maximilian Arnold, who has 2 cracks at goal. Straight down the throat of Neuer at the second time of asking.
Just prefers it on the volley or half volley, like he's done last week.
And that really was a wonderful moment in Wolfsburg's season. That late Arnold winner against Gladbach. Guilavogui. Looked as though he was about to be robbed of it. Header was from Alaba and flicked on by Coutinho. Here's Tisserand. Now Roussillon away by Pavard. Martinez across the defence to Alaba. Has been getting very high marks for his performances, and deservedly so, David Alaba. Gnabry.
His point of view, you can't prevent every shot or every cross, but a shot from outside the box is what he's happy to accept.
Coutinho couldn't keep hold of it. Guilavogui was there, and now it's with Arnold. Müller trying to put in a shift, and Gnabry doing just that. Schlager trying to take it away. Alphonso Davies. And offside, Perisic. Not best pleased, was he?
the communication in Wolfsburg's back line is really good. Timing is spot on.
You can see why Oliver Glasner didn't want to veer away from the back four setup. Javi Martinez, the most touches. Accurate passer as usual, but favours the short pass, winning the bulk of his challenges. But if Bayern are prospering, he's not really the man you want to be highlighting.
That's very true.
Probably tells you the story. Davies. Coutinho. Bavard using Gnabry. Scored against Freiburg in the closing stages on Wednesday. There's no easy assignment against the Streich 11 for Bayern München. Müller, and no foul there. Müller for Lewandowski. Can't normally give him that extent of space. Coutinho! All action stuff from Bayern, but still no goals.
And again, that chance was created from that counter press. Look how aggressive Müller wins the ball back. And then was Lewandowski's composure. He couldn't find a gap to pull the trigger, set it up for Coutinho, but on his weaker foot, just couldn't place it on target.
Bayern wanted the corner because it might have just brushed off Tisserand. Here's Mbabu. Alaba went down. Mbabu. Martinez with a header, only as far as Klaus. He pulls it back, and Arnold. It wasn't so very far away, you know. Maximilian Arnold, desperately close.
Yeah, there was a clever little cutback. It was the right thing too. Tried to place it with the inside of his foot, but it was on his weaker right foot, unfortunately.
He loves to get the ball onto his left. One scored with a free kick here at the Allianz Arena back in September 2017. That was after a bad mistake by Sven Ulreich. Perisic just leaving it, hoping that Lewandowski might be able to run on to the ball. Coutinho. Lewandowski. Again, tidying up in front of the defence was Guilavogui, which is one of his responsibilities. And he goes again, Guilavogui. Free kick in favour of Coutinho. Bavard. Müller. Lewandowski. Too straight to worry Castells.
Wasn't a bad header. Just think distance was too big.
Wolfsburg have only ever managed a couple of draws away to Bayern in the Bundesliga. Never won here in Munich against the Rekordmeister Mbabu. Forward towards Steffen. He's had a bit of trouble getting into the game. Mentioned earlier Wolfsburg's stellar defensive record, particularly strong defending away from home. Only 6 conceded on the travels, but they fell asleep then, and it's Perisic. And fine goalkeeping by Castells.
Well, he had to make up for his mistake. It was him falling asleep more than anything else or anyone else. He should have really been the sweeper for that one.
Almost at half-time, Thomas. How would you sum up what we've seen?
Well, I'd say from Bayern's perspective, not enough chances. Ball movement is not quick enough. Wolfsburg are very compact. Looks like an injury, yeah.
Yeah,
So
Martinez
yeah.
pulling up, made contact with the ball, and now he goes down. Well, Bayern don't need this, given the current personnel situation.
Well, they do have Boateng on the bench. Their one experienced player on the bench.
Yeah, he's the only one amongst the outfield players. Another look at what happened. Steffen going after it. Martinez there. We'll see if that's the end of the story as Jerome Boateng goes through his paces. A couple of additional minutes to be added on, but we're going to go beyond that for certain. You were just in mid-thought, Thomas, as Martinez went down as regards the flow of this first half.
Yeah, I think that Wolfsburg are doing an all right job. They're compact defensively, and every here and there they look threatening going forward. They had two excellent chances, and they're not sitting too deep, which is very important too. I mean, it's normal that Bayern have the majority of the ball, but it's not like they're looking really dangerous with every attack going forward.
Well, no immediate urgency to get Boateng on, given how close we are to half-time. Should really be a corner after all that. And it will be. But Arnold does the sporting thing. Just taps it out of play. That is greatly appreciated by the Bayern fans here at the Allianz Arena. Because clearly Martinez was in distress. But he touched the ball. So technically speaking, it had to be a corner. But I suppose there's the right thing to do and there's the wrong thing to do.
And that's the right thing to do from Alaba. He's giving it back now. A lot of fair play going on. Just before Christmas.
Yeah, exactly. It is that time of year, after all. And we've had the 2 additional minutes, but as I said, we're going to get more than that in the light of the Martinez injury. Alaba. Davies. A run had been made by Müller on that right-hand side. And they were all in position defensively, the Wolfsburg players. And a sad sight as Martinez is assisted. Now the change over the PA system. Gute Besserung, Javi Martinez. Get better soon. Martinez. Boateng is on in his place. Now Babu. Can they stop him? Bavard wasn't all that subtle about it. But with that, the first half comes to an end. And from the Bayern point of view...
big second half for Bayern. They need a win.
Yeah, they need a big win, particularly what's happening with Leipzig at the moment. But Boateng's last performance, he got dragged off at half-time. This time it comes on.
This is a good or bad thing here.
The good thing is, Lexi's not playing against pace.
That's true.
So he'll have a lot of the ball, and with Bayern, touching on what he said, they just need to be patient. They will create chances if one of them falls to the big man, the number 9. He normally puts it away.
Yeah, this is going to be a grind. It's going to be a grind for Bayern Munich, like we said, with the amount of defense that they're facing right there. But this is also where a big team finds that one moment, whenever it comes, with the patience and confidence that it will.
Do you get a feeling that Wolfsburg believe in himself, though? Because that was a pretty impressive first 45 minutes. You both talked about defensively, solid, limiting clear chances, goalkeeper, solid, and actually got a couple of streaks on target.
What you normally do when you're playing against the big boys is first 45 minutes, don't concede. Give it another 10, 15 minutes, particularly with the personnel they got on the bench to come and score goals, is that they can go forward and say, right, 17 minutes, let's maybe put one of them on. 80 minutes, maybe go with 2, and they might end up getting maximum points. But first and foremost, you keep him quiet, and they've done that very, very well.
Easier said than done.
Yeah.
It wasn't an onslaught. It wasn't every couple of minutes a good quality chance. I think if you're Wolfsburg, you have to be happy about the way that you're defending, but also that you're not just completely bending but don't break and just waiting for that one moment. Because that one moment, when you're talking about Bayern Munich, that's all it takes.
Well, this is a second half that could define the season for Bayern Munich and certainly for Wolfsburg in their fight to try and end up in European places. Big second half coming up. Let's get you back out to your match commentators, Derek Ray and Thomas Roy.
So Christian Dingert about to sound the second half into action. Well, here's the bad news for Bayern fans. When they haven't been ahead at half-time in the Bundesliga this season, they've failed to go on and win. 3 draws, 4 defeats. Under those circumstances, it's Wolfsburg attacking the goal to our left in this half. Steffen, not a bad idea. And Roussillon, oh, Joao Victor failed to make contact with the ball. And Bayern get away with it.
Another big, big chance. And look at the numbers they had in the box. 4 players breaking quickly. That's their 3rd huge chance this game. And again, it came from a transition moment.
That was earlier. The boot raised by Joshua Kimmich. Klaus felt it. Quite a few stoppages in this game. And an explosive start to the second half. And my goodness, Wolfsburg were almost in business.
The coach would have been really pleased with that move. You know, once you win the ball, make sure the first pass sticks, and then a few guys need to get on their bike. And they did exactly that. When Breckel was hitting the cross, there were 4 targets inside the box.
And the yellow card administered. Joshua Kimmich, the miscreant. Have a look at it. Here, he wasn't doing that deliberately. He wasn't attacking the forehead of Klaus or anything, but can't really quibble with the decision. And Joshua Kimmich, as a result of that, will serve a suspension when things get going again in the Rückrunde. He won't take part in Bayern's match in the capital against Hertha.
It's actually quite an annoying thing as a player. You've got that entire mini preseason ahead of you. You work your socks off at training, but then you know you're not going to start the first game.
January 4th until January the 10th. Bayern's training camp in Qatar. It's been their favourite destination in recent years. Alaba. Bayern bench. Well, it's down to youngsters now with Boateng, the only experienced member of the bench on the pitch. It was quite the debut in the Bundesliga for Joshua Zirkzee on Wednesday against Freiburg. Goal just 104 seconds after coming on. Schlager for Wolfsburg. Steffen. Now with John Brooks. US international, but very proud Berliner. Part of him might have been a bit loath to leave Hertha, given his roots in the capital. Very important player for Wolfsburg. Central defence, and he nods it down to Roussillon. Arnold's pass. João Victor. Here's Klaus. Just ran into Boateng. Schlager was alert. Does he have the angle? Neuer holds on to it.
It was a rather tame finish in the end.
Now at the other end. Gnabry. Müller. Kimmich booking, by the way, the first caution of the game. Only 6 fouls in the first half. Lewandowski, Perisic. Got a second crack of it. Don't think he really wanted that. As it came off Ivan Perisic last of all. Castells, one of the better goalkeepers in the Bundesliga. Restricted to just 9 appearances this season, including this game. Picked up the calf injury against Paderborn at the end of August. Doing a bit of pressing that time, Wolfsburg. João Victor. Referee blows his whistle. It's been that sort of day for Bayern, really. A lot of shrugging of shoulders and getting slightly annoyed.
It was a sloppy giveaway from Coutinho in that situation. Then he had to commit the foul as well. And again, Wolfsburg were breaking with 4 people. That's playing with fire at times.
Maximilian Arnold. And there was Mbabu. Well, that was quick thinking from Mbabu. Klaus. It does go Wolfsburg's way in the form of a corner. Second ball on the pitch. Klaus was just pointing that out to Neuer.
Just look at the way Bayern are setting up for set pieces. It's quite the opposite. It's clearly zonal marking.
Taken by Arnold. Boateng with a header. Schlager. It was offside anyway. We know he's capable of hitting them with more authority than that. Xaver Schlager. So a product of Salzburg. Schlager, but very happy to team up with Oliver Glasner. Used to coach Salzburg's rivals in Austria. Blas Glintz. Now Bavard with space. Came off Brooks. It's a tidy job defensively. Here's Roussillon. He's being asked to play the role of centre forward for a brief moment. Jérôme Roussillon. Coutinho. And Lewandowski quickly got back up onto his feet. Coutinho has a goal! Castells has been top-notch.
That's the situation he's been waiting for. bends it with power, and another great save by Castells.
Dealing with everything thrown at him. Koen Castells, here's Kimmich. And Müller is vying for it. Away by Joao Victor. Mentioned that Bayern will be heading to Qatar in January. Wolfsburg will be in Portugal. And that has been their country of choice the last couple of years in winter. Gnabry and Arnold with the concession of a free kick taken quickly by Gnabry. Perisic. This came off Mbabu. Now the decision goes Wolfsburg's way. I don't think there was any real question of handball inside the box against Mbabu. That wasn't the hand.
Definitely not.
You can say that without any fear of contradiction. Schlager. Pavard. That went Tisserand. Now Schlager once again for Wolfsburg. Mbabu. Schlager. Trying to give Kimmich the slip. Was there just a little push into the back of Xaver Schlager? Apparently so. Kimmich is not having it.
It did look a little bit soft. Just a little push. I think he was milking it a little bit. Let's just call it clever.
Felt the contact and then felt entitled to go down, I suppose, is the way you would put it. So akin to a short corner for Maximilian Arnold. The left foot of Arnold. The strong head of Pavard. Steffen. Neuer is there. Quickly bowls it out. Gnabry, but too much zip on that from Manuel Neuer. And a change afoot here for Wolfsburg. Xaver Schlager will be replaced by Yannick Gerhardt. Hasn't seen much action recently. 13 minutes over the last 7 match days. Schlager still feeling his way a bit after the ankle injury. Just came back at the end of November, followed by Boateng.
Yeah, I liked his contribution. It's very aggressive. He was able to hold on to the ball, made forward runs. I guess his substitution is just a matter of fresh legs.
And Gerhardt certainly capable. Perisic switching over to the right-hand side. John Brooks away. Kimmich tried to do a bit of defending. Klaus for Steffen. And now Brooks, I'm not sure he really wanted it. Played into his path. Giving Steffen an icy stare. Minutes into the second half, a blank score sheet here at the Allianz Arena. Lewandowski with that deft little flick towards Müller. Even though Wolfsburg are defensive in their orientation, they have enough about them to make Bayern think from time to time. And the visitors do go forward. Boateng. And off balance was Thomas Müller. Schlager, he was singing his praises. Thomas. Really came back from that very bad ankle injury more quickly than anyone expected. Got a lot of expert sports science help back in Austria, in Salzburg. He was very quick to pay tribute to those who assisted him. Gnabry for Davies. Wants to get forward in that fashion. Tisserand.
You gotta take your head off Tisserand and Brooks. They've been reading so many passes so well.
Now Mbabu bursting forward, and not a lot of Bayern defending going on. Kevin Mbabu, but there's Pavard to solve the problem. And again, Benjamin Pavard. Well, that got a big cheer. Coutinho looked as though he was being pulled by Gerhard. Here's Lewandowski. Only parts with it. Davies, and Müller couldn't get there because Roussillon was magnificent defensively. Almost as though time Putting it back, and this time it goes in. At long last, the wait is over. Zirkzee again. Just as he did in midweek. But if Bayern wanted a super sub, my goodness, they found one.
It was beautifully constructed. Müller with the 1-2, and then he looks up, just whip it across, clever little cutback, and history repeats himself. Unbelievable story, the young kid.
I wondered for a second if they might get in the way of each other, Gnabry and Zirkzee. Not a bit of it. And the breakthrough for Bayern, to the delight of all their fans at the Allianz Arena. And it comes from the youngster, Joshua Zirkzee.
But the key was to finally get in behind the defense. That little 1-2 between Müller and Gnabry, that was how they essentially created that goal. And that's Müller's assist number 11 for the season. That in itself is quite some stat.
I'm sure Karl-Heinz Rummenigge and Herbert Heiner will tell you, we knew it was coming. The truth of the matter is that Wolfsburg have given Bayern a really hard game, and here's Weghorst trying to chisel a corner out of that, and that's what's been given, to the displeasure of all the Bayern players. Didn't see it that way.
But since at this point he must be thinking, well, it's not that hard to play in the Bundesliga. Only takes him a couple of minutes to get on the score sheet each time.
And with his first touch of the ball again, as was the case in Freiburg. It's crazy, isn't it, this game? Arnold with the corner. Roussillon was competing for it. 3 minutes left. What do we want to say? Dusel Bayern or not? Lucky Bayern, or what do you think?
Yes and no.
Yeah.
The goal itself was beautifully constructed, but in terms of the flow of the game, the chances both teams have created, I think it is indeed a little bit lucky.
It's taken by Paulo Ottavio. Referee has spotted the infringement. And it's slithering away from Wolfsburg. It has been a gallant effort by the men from Niedersachsen. That was the throw taken by Paulo Ottavio. The referee wasn't happy with that throw. It was his assistant on the near side, Tobias Christ, who informed him of that. Arnold, too much on it. Davies. Müller. Gnabry wanted it played to him. Lewandowski, Gnabry! That will settle it! And Bayern can go into the winter break feeling much, much better about themselves. Hard work, but it has paid off.
It was clearly onside, and that's just a very unselfish, clever little layoff from Lewandowski. Wolfsburg was always going to increase the risk at this point, and that's what you get against Bayern. They're just lethal on the fast break.
Well, it's a punch to the gut for Wolfsburg when you consider how much they put into the game. Hasan Salihamidzic delighted there in the technical area. And Serge Gnabry, as he did in Freiburg, gets himself on the score sheet. No similarities between the two matches when you think about Zirkzee and Gnabry once more in the dying embers to turn what was going to be a draw into a much-needed victory.
It feels like a déjà vu, 100%. And similar to the Freiburg game, it did feel like it was coming. Freiburg had got the better of Bayern in the last 30 minutes of that game. They created chances for themselves, and it felt like they were going to get on the score sheet rather than losing the game. And it was a similar story here this afternoon.
Well, they've made it 25 competitive games, scoring at least once. Bayern didn't look as though this was going to peter out into a 0-0 draw. But then there was Zirkzee, and then there was Gnabry. 2 minutes to be added on at the end. Followed by Gerhardt, but to no one in particular. Wolfsburg don't seem to have very much left in the attacking tank. Well, substitution time for Bayern, and a chance for them to introduce Leon Dayaku, the 18-year-old. One of many youngsters on the bench. Gnabry with the second goal. And it's a story of the two-punch knockout in the closing stages, administered by the Rekordmeister. Well, it's been a very long Hinrunde for these players, given all the demands. 3 different competitions for Bayern München, same for Wolfsburg, of course. Opportunity shortly for them to rest and recuperate with their families over the Christmas period. And they'll reconvene ahead of the winter training camp for Bayern in Qatar, for Wolfsburg in Portugal. Tisserand is fouled by Perisic. Bayern end the calendar year with a victory. A victory we thought might not be forthcoming, but Joshua Zirkzee, for the second time in 3 days, comes off the bench and scores with his first touch. Serge Gnabry with a second goal that finished it once and for all. Bayern 2, Wolfsburg 0.